Hi, I'm John Banks, and I thought today we would talk about the process of creativity as opposed to the mental construct of creativity that we discussed last week a little bit. What I'd like to do here is talk about a four-step process. That's a simplification. There's a lot of kind of a spectrum in between each step of this. But just as a way to kind of break down the creative process in such a way that it's easier to think about and maybe actionable for you, so you can identify some of these things in yourself. So for me, I've watched a lot of artists. I have taken stock of myself over the years, and I kind of view this as a four-step process. Observation, focus, synthesis, and production. And again, these are the ones that I use. So observation, obviously the primary thing is being aware of what's around you. This could be inside as well as outside, but it's often using our senses. What are you seeing? What are you seeing that's unfamiliar? And what interests you in terms of what you're seeing or hearing or experiencing with your senses. But as I said, this could be an internal process as well. But it's, I call this they're triggers, they're sparks. What's sparking you? What are you seeing that's interesting to you? Once you have a couple things like that, then it's a process of focusing in. And this to me is the thing that you can spend the most time on, and it's the most rewarding because what is important to you? What do you gravitate towards? What are you interested in? What questions do you want to answer? How can you bring this out in such a way that you're helping others? But what is the process of assigning value and importance? And this is personal value and personal importance in general. So you're focusing in after observing. Then the next step for me is synthesis. And in synthesis, you are submitting your interests kind of against, I kind of view this is the trickiest one, but it's how are you thinking that you want to express this? Okay? And for me, that's what am I seeing in my head, as opposed to what the original experience was. It's typically, in creativity, you're not trying, although you may, but you're typically not trying to recreate reality. You're trying to find your truth, your version of what was there. And you are trying to think about how you can bring that out. And one of the aspects of synthesis is to be bringing in other things. So you're putting things together and creating a synergy between those different things. So if you like multiple things, if you want to help multiple groups of people, or you find different ways of doing that, you try to put as many of these things together as you can. Then the final phase is the production phase. As if this were a single thing. It's actually not, but for our purposes today, the production is where the ideas, the synthesized ideas are coming out. How are you going to manifest it? Are you going to draw something, write something, create a photograph? Once you do that, what are all the decisions you will make about color, size, audience participation? What are the relationships? How are you going to take your idea, synthesize it, bring it to fruition, and share it with others? All that, for me, is the creative process. As I said, there are many ways of looking at that. There's an artist that I mentioned in the post, Andy Goldsworthy, and I like using him because he's such an absolutely metaphorically clear example of this process. So he's one of our most well-known artists alive today, and what he does is he's a nature guy, loves nature, and there are things about it that are very important to him. The flow of nature, the entropy, the growth of nature. And what he does is he goes out with nothing except a camera to document what he does. And he goes out into a site or a location that interests him, and then he finds things there and he builds something that brings out the character of that site or brings out the character that he's interested in. So he observes, he focuses it in on something, he synthesizes the idea, and then he produces it. He may make a spectrum of a rainbow out of all the colors of leaves that he finds. Everything that he does is from a place. And, I just think it's a fascinating metaphor for how the process works. Like him or not like him, that's totally your deal. But you take his work as a guide to one of the ways in which you could go through this. So that's what I have on kind of my version of the process. I've posted some others that are certainly related in all ways, but observation, focus, synthesis, production. Thanks.